Hello and welcome to the BUCS Weekend Kickoff. This week, I'm joined by University of Hull Sharks head coach Liam Barmby. Liam, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Isaac, how you doing?
Not bad, mate. So, just for people who might not know who you are, maybe just introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, who you play for, that kind of thing.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Liam. So I'm the Sharks head coach at the moment. Been playing for about 10 years. So I started with Isaac in the old Leeds Assassins days, under 17s all the way through. Played for Edge Hill University as a player, and then I've coached ever since for Hull.
And then for Hull this season, so far in the North 2A, kind of a weird division in the way that most of the games haven't happened or they've been delayed or something like that. How have you found the season for you guys?
Well, February was all right. Up until February, obviously we didn't play. So yeah, it's been for a rebuilding season for us. It's been good. We've got a lot out of it.
Yeah, as you say, rebuild year after being relegated last year. Um, is this you didn't get promoted this year, but is that kind of a thing for the Sharks where it's something to build off going into next year when who knows what the division is going to look like by then?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, we're not expecting to go up. Every head coach will say that they have an aspiration to go up every year. Um, I think the Sharks are in a good place moving forwards, so definitely achievable.
And yourself as well this year, the defensive coordinator for the Wakefield Raiders. You know, what's it like trying to transition from adult to Bucks ball and vice versa? What's the what are the differences that you find when you're coaching?
I think for us, obviously, with university football, you're getting a lot of guys in that have never played before, so the stuff that you're teaching is a lot more fundamental focused. Whereas with your adult ball, um, guys have played for years, so you can be a lot more, nuanced with what you're teaching. Um, Obviously, the Wakefield Raiders are, you know, I've been in that system for a long time. So again, changing things up from the norm. Sometimes it can be difficult, but again, I think the good group of guys that we've got going forwards are definitely capable of, you know, achieving really good results this year going forwards.
Yeah, and like you said, we and you both started at Yorkshire. A lot of talented people have come out there. We were speaking about it the other day, weren't we, about the talent we had at one stage. You know, how do you see that when you look back on the years and the roster we had now are coaching all around the country, are still playing. Multiple people gone to Europe and America and stuff like that. That must be great to add to that. Being a head coach from that program as well, it must be a great thing to think of.
Yeah, certainly is. I mean, that team, the team that finished third national, was it 2017's team, 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously being a part of that team and yeah, everybody involved with that team at that time has gone on to do great things within football. Obviously yourself, you inside Brickball, and then obviously we've got guys that have played GB, guys that have gone on to coach university teams, and everyone's gone everywhere. So obviously Leeds Assassins, Yorkshire Academy Assassins, as a program, fundamentally, you know what they've done for the development of the sport is next level. Obviously one day hopefully can get back there and give back to them guys as well. But yeah, certainly it's a fantastic starting point for a football career.
Yeah, and what we'll do now, we'll just go into this week's fixtures. We haven't got that many, luckily enough, this week. We've been in the playoffs. We just have the Tier 1 National Trophy, and then we also have the Tier 2 Conference Cup. So we'll start with the North 1A first. We've got Lancashire hosting Manchester Tyrants. A game we've seen already this season. Lancashire getting the win both times. But on the plus side for Manchester is the only team to score points on the Lancashire Rams. A team that is now struggling without their starting QB, without their backup QB, even I've heard. But definitely, it's going to be a struggle for the Rams to face a side that will know what they're going to do. Will bit of read them, easily. Yourself, you've played against Yukon Rams when you were at Edge Hill. Did you kind of see this rise happening from them, or is this kind of a surprise that they're as good as they are in Div 1?
Yeah, so I mean, unfortunately, my time there, we never beat them. So I can't say you've seen it coming because they're already there, as far as we were concerned. Um, but I see UConn as a program in the Northwest. They are, they're doing great things. For me, for that game, I think you still can't doubt UConn. To be fair, I think they're still. Obviously, it was a bit of a scrappy one against MMU last week, but I think they might have it. To be fair.
Yeah, well, what, a 5-0 victory over MMU Eagles. Safety and a field goal saved them on that day. But definitely, I think Manchester, it's going to be an interesting one, definitely, between them two sides because Manchester look like they'll be up for it. I think have you played Manchester as well before? I want to say at
Yes,
one point
yes. Once as a
in
player
the
and then once
playoffs.
as a coach. So
Yeah, definitely. So a game that you'll know both sides, anyways. On the other side of that, in the quarterfinal, we have the Edinburgh Napier Knights hosting Nottingham Green. Napier Knights getting through with their walkover win against Glasgow. Nottingham Green squeaking past Stirling, who put a fight up in the second half. Nottingham Green look like they are. This is going to be the game of the week, isn't it? Really,
Absolutely.
it's the top two of the North, possibly of Tier 1 as a whole. It's going to be interesting to see how Edinburgh Napier, the Knights, stack up against a side that isn't from Scotland. Because again, we don't know that much about Scottish football. I don't think that not many people do unless you're in it, really. But Nottingham Green, we know the class that they have. The facilities they have, the coaching, the play, everything. They can't take any gold players up because all the gold players that did want to have already played 5 games for the gold, so they're stuck for the gold now. But yeah, it's got the hallmarks of just a great playoff game, hasn't it?
It has. Where is it taking place? Is it a Nottingham
Edinburgh.
Green home game? Edinburgh, taking place in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be game of the week. You're right there. It's a shame that it's not happening in the finals week for D1 North. I think are 2 teams that are definitely the better 2 out of D1 this year. I think obviously injuries for UClan obviously have hampered that. They could probably be in there as well, but I do fancy, if it being a Napier home game, I do fancy Edinburgh in this one.
And I'll be honest, I am definitely not biased in the slightest, just a little bit. I do fancy the Nottingham Green. I don't know why. I just think that they'll go up there and I don't think they'll take anything for granted. In the South, we had Max on a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't listened to that episode, go back. He spoke a lot about how they want to beat BUCS, and they've got another chance to beat Oxford BUCS again this week. Hertfordshire are going to be hard to stop, if I'm honest with you. Oxford BUCS looked great at the start of the season, then lost to Hertfordshire and looked a bit shaky. But no, I think Hertfordshire definitely have the capability to go up to the Prem, back where they were. I think they were in the national final not too long ago. Do you remember when Leeds Beckett beat them in the national final? Back when we were still involved with that program a little bit with Yorkshire. But no, it's going to be hard for BUCS. They are a good team, but again, Hertfordshire might just have that little bit too much firepower onto them. And then finally in Tier 1, KCL will host Bournemouth. I'm going to call this Nanagate. Liam, I don't know if you know about this. The head coach of the KCL Regents has gone over to the Bournemouth Bobcats in an advisory role, and now they face head-to-head in the playoffs. Bournemouth, who I think would be the number 1 ranked team in the South if it wasn't for their points reduction, but they have to go onto the road and have to go to KCL. It's quite interesting, isn't it, when a coach can just go from one team to the other and now they're playing against each other. It give Bournemouth a little bit more of an edge, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. There's no rules against doing that. You're more than free to do that. It's wild. You don't often see it, but again, just last year I went back to Edge Hill in an advisory role for their playoff push. So again, it does happen. Obviously, Bournemouth, as you mentioned, they're a very strong side. So the points reduction is what it is for those guys. I think they'll do well.
Yeah, I think that this year they've taken it on the chin and got undefeated anyways, beating a side that they were ranked above them in their league last week quite handedly. And, I'd expect the same again this week, really. We'll go on to the Southern 2A first before we go on to the North, where you'll know more about and, hopefully there's a little bit more news on your game. Fingers crossed. But yeah, first of all, Reading against Sussex. Sussex going as the 8th seed, Reading is the number 1. I think it's safe to say that Reading are going to handle this one quite well. Scored 104 points across their 5 games, conceded 20. It's Sussex, although they know how to score points, I think they'll struggle against Reading. I think Reading's defense might be a little bit too strong, and they'll be looking to make their immediate return to Div 1 with a playoff win as well. Imperial against UWE2. We had Sam on the show last week, after our little break. Listen to that again. He spoke in depth about how his team now just focus on the playoffs and nothing else, and how they were kind of looking to more Queen Mary than they were Imperial. But after Queen Mary got the win against Imperial, now it's the 4v5, and this 4v5 game, I think in all of them, just going to cause chaos, isn't it? Really, it's the sides that are good enough to win the division, but just don't have that little finishing touch just yet.
Yep.
Louis losing to Louis losing to Swansea. No, is that right? Yeah, that is right, to Swansea. Imperial losing to Queen Mary. It's them little finite touches that have made sure that they're just in the playoffs and nothing more. The Vipers, they'll host Gloucestershire Gladiators. We've got a bet on that Stuart will have to wear a Gloucestershire Gladiators jersey on our next live stream if they win. So I'm hoping that they win. But no, Queen Mary have been great this year. Promoted to Div 1. Really shown what they're about all year long. And finally, Surrey making the long trip to Swansea. I think we both remember when the Swansea Titans were still in the Prem, and they've just taken a very sharp decline into Div 2, but they're going to get promoted this year, which is always great. And now they can relax a little bit, focus on winning some silverware, but also it's going to be an interesting weekend in the south, isn't it?
Certainly is. I say I don't know too much about the South conferences anyway, but again, it sounds like there's some really good matchups there going forwards. Again, the 4-5 game is always going to be the toughest first round game because of the most evenly matched teams as per seeding. But again, that's the way that the BUCS seed it, so they might not even be the closest game.
And I'm just looking onto our Instagram page to make sure I get the right bracket, because this Div 2 North one has changed so many times. It's getting beyond ridiculous now.
That's my favorite part of the year. That trying to guess playoff brackets.
Yeah. So the way I have it written in front of me is wrong.
Right.
Right. So I've got LJMU playing De Montfort. Is that right?
So
That's not right.
no. So you've got one seed. You've got Cambridge as playing Sunderland.
Yeah. So again, Sunderland. It's a side that you've played twice. Can you potentially give a bit more insight into them and what Cambridge are going to be looking out for this week?
Yeah, so Sunderland, they are a good team. Obviously, very physical. We found that when we played them. Definitely the first time we played them, we probably weren't expecting it. Sometimes on the game film that you get for scouting, you can't see just how physical a group of players are. Sunderland are a very physical team. I'm not sure if Cambridge have gone against anyone that's similar to that. Again, well coached Sunderland. The coaches that they've got around the team, they are good coaches. So I think it will be closer than a 1v8 normally would be. But again, it's just a long way to go for Sunderland in terms of travel. They didn't travel particularly well to us, and they've still got an extra hour and a bit to go back down to Cambridge. So, it's going to be tough for them.
And Cambridge will be out the bagpipes, what they normally have on the sideline to distract teams. We got a message this morning saying that they're injured, so they can't play the bagpipes, which I'm gutted about. But yeah, so next, you're gonna have to help me out here because this is all wrong. What's in front of me? Okay, so I've got next the number 2 seed should be Coventry. No, should be York.
Yeah, versus DMU.
Versus DMU. Yeah. The Montfort's come out of nowhere this year. Where's this come from? A team that I think most people would say they're probably going to go winless. All of a sudden, just before Christmas, when they got that win over AIU, they've looked like a different team. Like, what do you kind of put that down to, or is there anything you can put that down to in a side's turnaround like that?
To be fair, I said there's been some close games in the Midlands this year. But again, it's luck of the draw sometimes. De Montfort, again, obviously coming into the season, like you say, you wouldn't expect them to be a front runner. Obviously, they were up for promotion. Up until that last week of games. From what I understand, they recruited very well this year. Some of the players that they've got in, experienced players, and again, a coaching staff that's really committed. So again, it's not out of nowhere, but it's probably earlier than people are anticipating them to be back up and competing.
Yeah, I think it got us all by surprise that they've gone 4 games in a row with wins. That is quite a big surprise, and they're playing York side again that you've played. You got a 12-all draw, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
Against their new head coach, another side with a new head coach. I think your division was just full of them this year. But no, how do you see the York Centurions playing this game? Do you think that they, will be favourites and strong favourites in that?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously playing against York, so we didn't beat York this year, so we had the tie in the first game, and then obviously the last game last week of the season. Obviously, unfortunately, the game ended a bit early. Again, it was a close game. York, for me, were probably the better side. in our conference this year. Again, in terms of being well drilled players, I mean, squad size. Football's a numbers game. They've got a big squad. And when it comes to this point in the pro season, when you've got guys that are injured, they've got guys that can fill in. For me, obviously, I know their head coach well. Obviously, he does help us sometimes with the Raiders as well when it comes to refereeing for those last minute situations. From my conversations with him, I think they're potentially quietly confident that they can go quite far in the playoff run. But again, you can't take anything for granted. They could turn up on the day and Damien will blow them out the water, so we don't know. But for me, I think York will probably sneak a win out of that one.
Yeah, and I think, as you said there, like the size of their squad's quite surprising. I remember when I went there with the Bears, it was from my first game coaching in Div 2, and just the size, like just the amount of players that they had compared to us was surprising. It's always a good thing in Tier 2. The more players you have, it's just always better in it for everyone. But not, and then finally, we'll get on to you guys. You're facing Coventry away. I remember seeing that.
Yes. So
is it still happening?
yes.
Yes.
It is still happening. So obviously there was a bit of we've not had masses of players this year. So we have been up against it a few times to get to the minimum number of required players, but we do have that. So we are making our way to Coventry on Sunday morning, nice and early for a 12 o'clock kickoff. Again, first time this core group of players will have had playoffs because we've been in Division 1 previously, where if you're not in the playoffs, you are relegated. So it's a bit of a nightmare. But again, a good chance for the guys to get out and have that experience of playoff football. A team we played last year, but only got to play them once. So again, this is almost like that second game that we never got last year, getting a chance to do it in the playoffs in Div 2 instead.
It's a bit of fun as well, isn't it, for you? You know what I mean? There's not too much riding on this. Yes, it's a playoff game and you can win a bit of silverware, but you guys aren't getting promoted, unfortunately. It is just a game where you guys can relax a little bit and just have a bit more fun with it than as what a league game would be, really, if that makes sense.
Yes, the connotations of the game are quite simple. It's you win or you're going home. So again, some of these guys, but the last time they ever play, if we don't win the game, obviously we have varsity coming up as well. But again, given the playoff schedule and calendar, obviously our varsity game is scheduled for a game week, so they might have to move. But yeah, so again, for the playoffs, it's an experience most guys don't get. So it's a lot of fun for them to go out and just enjoy that playoff experience that, again, they probably won't see again until adult ball, which is completely different.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at Coventry, I know that your coaches and yourself are massive scout guys. What have you seen on tape from them? If you've got any tape, or what are you expecting from the Jets?
Yeah, so we've got a few bits of tape on from this season. Again, offensively, I know there's a lot of similarities to last season. Obviously, the head coach is still the same. Defensively, it's a bit different. So obviously, one of their former players, we understand, is now defensive coordinator. So again, something a bit different on tape for us to look at. Obviously, some of their players have graduated, transferred to different universities. So I know a few of them went to UCLan. So yeah, I mean, again, more of the same, but again, you don't know until the day. The tape we've got is from maybe January time, so it could all have changed.
Yeah, and then finally, the last game of the week, LGMU finally faced Lancaster. Nearly got it wrong, man. We've been told off last week about that. A game that we were expected to see earlier in the season, but we didn't. Lancaster's pitch wasn't marked correctly. This then went to a coin toss at the end of the season. LGMU getting the better of that coin toss, and yeah, now they're hosting the playoff game. And realistically, Lancaster have got a point to prove that they are better than LGMU and that they deserve to be above them. LGMU are getting promoted. There's no taking away from that. But Lancaster will definitely be a bit more, have a bit between the teeth to really show that they are capable of going forward and improving something to LGMU. They had a scrimmage before LGMU came out on top of that. Speaking to a couple of the LGMU players, they're confident to go all the way. But definitely, it's going to be a tough one to call in it because I think we both know the class that Lancaster have and have had at this division for a long time. And LGMU coming down from Tier 1 straight back up promoted after only playing, have they only played one game or two games?
Two
sorry,
now, yeah.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? Really, it's compare that to a Coventry team or yourselves, where you've played 6, Coventry's done. You played 5.
4. We played 4.
Four. Yeah, Coventry. They've played 6. It's compare that to from the northwest all the way to the Midlands and the northeast. It's mental how many games have been played. But now, I think the regular season gets pushed aside, and it's just can Lancaster do the job that they need to do and push themselves forward going into the year.
Yeah, so is it definitely happening? It's not going to get rained off again, is it? Is it AstroTurf?
We haven't been told yet.
Cool.
We haven't been told it's been rained off yet.
I say that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Obviously, if they get that game called off again or postponed again. No, so Lancaster always seem like a team that are 1 game away. Every year in Div 2, they're always finishing second. Obviously, last year finished second to Edge Hill. This year, second via coin toss. You could argue that they thought they might have been first. Again, I'm glad that the game's actually happening. Of the way the seeding could have gone, I'm glad that's the only in-conference game that's going ahead. So it's not, us playing York again. That's the only one that's happening, and it's the only one that hasn't happened in the regular season, which is good to see that we are going to see that outcome, to see who is the better team.
Yeah. Again, that's all we've got time for today. Liam, thank you for joining me on BUCS Weekend Kickoff, and good luck this weekend. So yeah, thanks for joining me, and we'll see everyone next week. Goodbye.
Cheers. Thank you.